The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Veltar of the Zephyrian Empire delivered his verdict. His crystalline form shimmered with disdain as he addressed the assembled representatives of 300 worlds. The species known as humanity has been evaluated, Veltar announced, his voice carrying the weight of absolute authority. Their technological advancement is primitive. Their physical capabilities are laughably inferior. Their lifespans are brief, their bodies fragile. The Council hereby declares humanity unfit for galactic citizenship. They shall remain quarantined to their single world until they evolve into something more. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. The Korath delegation, 8-foot-tall warriors with hide thick enough to deflect plasma bolts, clicked their mandibles in amusement. The ethereal Voidborn, beings of pure energy who had transcended physical form millennia ago, pulsed with condescending light patterns. Surely this is excessive, interjected Ambassador Thys of the Centaurian Federation, her serpentine form coiling nervously. They show promise in certain areas. Their music, their literature, irrelevant, Veltar cut her off. Art cannot shield worlds from invasion. Beauty cannot power starships across the void. The galaxy has no place for the weak. 3 months later, the Devourer swarm emerged from dark space. They came without warning, consuming everything in their path. Entire systems went dark as the biomechanical horrors stripped worlds bare, converting matter into more of their kind. The Outer Rim colonies fell first, their desperate distress signals cutting to static mid-transmission. The Korath fleet engaged them at the Titan Nebula. For all their vaunted strength and superior technology, they lasted exactly 14 minutes. The Voidborn attempted to phase-shift the swarm into another dimension. Half their collective consciousness was torn apart in the process. Within weeks, the unstoppable tide reached the inner systems. The Council convened an emergency session, panic replacing their usual arrogance. "We need the hegemony's quantum cannons," Veltar declared, his crystalline surface fractured with stress cracks. The hegemony fell yesterday," reported a trembling aide. "The swarm adapted to their weapons in real time. Then the neural collective, consumed. The Devourers somehow corrupted their hive mind. World after world burned. The galaxy's greatest military minds threw their finest strategies against the swarm, only to watch them fail spectacularly. Advanced shields that had withstood supernovas crumpled like paper. Weapons that could crack moons barely scratched the Devourers' adaptive hulls. As the swarm approached the galactic core, this made a desperate suggestion that stunned the Council into silence. "What about the humans?" Veltar's form flickered with outrage. "The primitives? They have nothing we haven't tried 100-fold better. They're the only major population center the swarm hasn't encountered," Thys pressed. "Perhaps fresh tactics, we will not beg help from inferiors," Veltar declared. "The Council has standards." But as reports came in of the swarm consuming the Arcturus sector, home to 50 billion souls, standards seemed less important than survival. The message reached Earth as the Sol Defense Fleet powered up for what they assumed would be their final battle. Admiral Chen Wei read the Council's request for assistance twice before believing it. "They're asking for our help," she announced to the assembled fleet commanders. "The same Council that called us weak and quarantined us to Earth." "What are your orders, Admiral?" asked Captain Rodriguez, commander of the dreadnought Indomitable. Chen Wei looked out at the blue marble of Earth, then at the tactical displays showing the approaching swarm. 6 billion monsters, each the size of a battleship, moving in perfect coordination. "We show them what humans do best," she said quietly. "We adapt." The first thing that surprised the galaxy was that the human fleet didn't retreat when the swarm arrived. They advanced. The second surprise was their tactics. While other species had thrown their most powerful weapons at the Devourer's strongest points, humans aimed for weak spots that shouldn't have existed. They targeted the microscopic gaps between bio-armor plates, exploited timing delays in the swarm's coordination, and used the Devourer's own adaptive capabilities against them. "How are they doing this?" Veltar whispered as he watched the human fleet carve through the swarm's outer formations. The answer came from an unexpected source: failure. Humanity's shorter lifespans meant faster generational turnover. Their primitive technology forced them to innovate constantly. Most importantly, their history of warfare, species fighting species, nation fighting nation, human fighting human, had taught them something the peaceful, long-lived galactic civilizations had forgotten: How to kill efficiently. The human ships were smaller, weaker, and slower than their galactic counterparts, but they moved like a pack of wolves, each vessel supporting the others in fluid formations that shifted faster than the swarm could adapt. When devourers tried to learn from destroyed human ships, they found weapons that had already been modified, tactics that had already evolved. Admiral Chenwei's voice cut across all frequencies as the human fleet pressed deeper into the swarm. This is Admiral Chenwei of the Terran Defense Force, broadcasting to all galactic forces. We're transmitting tactical data on devourer weaknesses. Coordinate your attacks with ours and we can break their formations. For the first time in months, alien ships scored meaningful victories against the swarm. The tide turned at the Battle of the Horsehead Nebula. Human destroyers led combined galactic forces in a series of lightning strikes that shattered the swarm's central coordination nodes. Without their hive mind directing them, the individual devourers became manageable opponents. When the last devourer fell, the galaxy counted its losses. 300 worlds reduced to 17. Trillions dead. Ancient civilizations erased. But they had survived, thanks to the species they'd dismissed as weak. In the rebuilt council chambers, Veltar stood before Admiral Chenwei. His crystalline form, once proud and arrogant, now bore the cracks of humility. The council formally apologizes, he began. We were mistaken in our assessment. Chenwei nodded curtly. Apology accepted. Now shall we discuss humanity's full membership in galactic society? Of course, Veltar agreed quickly. Though I must ask, how did you know? How did your species develop such tactical brilliance when others failed? The Admiral smiled grimly. You called us weak, Ambassador. But you missed something important about weakness. It teaches you how to survive against stronger opponents. Every human child grows up knowing they're not the fastest, strongest, or smartest thing in their world. So we learned to be something else, which is the most dangerous. As Admiral Chenwei left the chamber, she could hear the whispers beginning. The galaxy was learning a new truth. Strength wasn't measured in physical power or advanced technology. Sometimes the greatest strength came from being underestimated. Behind her, the Council began the long process of rebuilding their shattered civilizations. And for the first time in galactic history, they did so knowing that the small, primitive species from Sol would be watching their backs. The galaxy had declared humanity weak. Humanity had responded by saving them all.